Imagine a giant cosmic ledger that literally records every single thing you do and then dictates exactly what you become after you die. Well, welcome to this explainer on the Garuda Purana. This isn't just some vague ancient mythology. It's a meticulously detailed and, honestly, deeply fascinating Hindu framework that takes the abstract idea of karma and turns it into a strict, inescapable cosmic science. It's the ultimate universal anxiety, right? What actually happens to us after we take that final breath? Now, while a lot of traditions give us a pretty simple vision of heaven or hell, this ancient framework offers something entirely different. It lays out a highly specific, almost bureaucratic system of reincarnation. You can kind of think of it as a relentless cosmic audit, where absolutely every nuance of your behavior is calculated to dictate the exact conditions of your next life. So the whole system revolves around this principle called karma fall. And in this worldview, there is no angry cosmic judge handing down arbitrary sentences. Instead, karma operates way more like a fundamental law of physics. Every action generates an equal, undeniable reaction. Your good deeds, known as punya, and your bad deeds, your pop, are basically weights on a scale, and they directly, mechanically dictate your subsequent rebirth, your environment, and believe it or not, even the exact lifespan you'll endure in that next existence. Now, perhaps one of the most haunting elements of this whole system actually happens before we're even born. The Purana suggests this really profound irony. While developing in the womb, a soul actually remembers all of its past lives. It remembers every single mistake, every misstep, and it just prays for a chance to do better this time around. But then, the very moment of birth acts as a total cosmic reset. That agonizingly clear memory gets wiped completely clean, which traps the soul right back into worldly illusions and those everyday distractions that lead us astray. And that cosmic ledger we were just talking about, yeah, it gets shockingly specific. Just think about your family dynamics for a second. According to the text, harassing your relatives doesn't just earn you some vague bad karma. It specifically earns you up to 300 years trapped inside the slow, heavy shell of a tortoise. Or what if you betray an employer or break your master's trust? Well, you'll spend 20 years living as a monkey. It is a highly literal, completely inescapable form of poetic justice. The punishments consistently match the actual nature of the earthly crime, literally binding souls to the very senses or behaviors they abused. Take theft and deceit, for example. A petty thief gets reborn as a parrot, endlessly caged or just swawking for scraps. But if you steal fragrant, luxurious things, you become a muskrat, forever driven by scent. Scammers who cheat others in broad daylight become owls, relegated entirely to the shadows of the night. And for those who constantly spout abusive language, well, they find themselves reborn as goats, with all their harsh words reduced to meaningless bleating. The scales of justice here balance without any mercy whatsoever. Those who disrespect faith or religion are cast into the life of a dog, forced to wander aimlessly. Slanderers and folks who maliciously refuse to repay their debts are diminished into easily crushed insects, which is a pretty stark reflection of their low moral standing in their previous life. And in perhaps the ultimate chilling irony, cruel hunters who took life for sport meet an unavoidable fate. They are reborn as a butcher's animal, forced to experience the exact terror they once inflicted on others. But for the most severe wrongs, we're talking acts of extreme harm or deep betrayal, just one lifetime of punishment isn't going to cut it. You can think of this as compound interest on bad karma. For these really heavy debts, a soul doesn't just bounce back into a human body. The text outlines an absolutely grueling, exhausting cycle. A soul might start in the torments of hell, only to be pushed into the brutal survival of a wolf, then a dog, a jackal, a scavenging vulture, and finally a crow or a crane. It's this desperately long, dark journey of sheer survival before they are even allowed a tiny glimpse of humanity again. And here's the kicker. Even when that desperately waited human birth finally arrives, the slate isn't entirely clean. The consequences echo right into the present. The text claims that lingering karmic baggage actually remains, and it often manifests as specific physical ailments. It presents this fascinating, kind of eerie possibility that those unexplainable bodily illnesses or chronic issues people suffer from today might just be the direct, physical echoes of a past life's misdeeds, like excessive cruelty or overindulgence. The ledger, it seems, absolutely must always be perfectly balanced. Now, this super strict accounting isn't just about punishment, though. It is really about finding the exit. While bad karma drags a soul through lower life forms and physical suffering, good karma, things like loving animals, acting with deep respect, and choosing kindness, does something infinitely more powerful. It opens the doors to moksha. And moksha isn't just some version of heaven. It is the ultimate relief. It's total, complete liberation from this grueling, exhausting wheel of rebirth, ensuring that you never have to spin through the cycle of suffering ever again. So, if you're curious about your own cosmic history, the text actually details an ancient meditation protocol. It's almost like a spiritual life hack called Jati Smaran. It's this profound exercise in mental discipline that you could actually try tonight. You lie in bed with your eyes closed and you mentally reverse the events of your day. Trace your actions backwards, step by step, all the way to the very moment you woke up. By practicing this memory reversal daily, the text claims you slowly unlock the focused power of your mind, eventually piercing the veil to recall your own past lives. All of this brings us to what is probably the most awe-inspiring realization of the Garuda Purana. After tracing that endless journey through insects, donkeys, scavengers, and literally centuries of animal lives, simply being here, right now, as a human, means you have won a massive cosmic lottery. A human birth is a remarkably rare and privileged event. It is the culmination of countless lifetimes of balancing the scales, and it represents your ultimate, and maybe even your only, opportunity to consciously break free from the karmic wheel. Knowing that this ancient philosophy views every single earthly action as a tiny seed for your next existence, how will you choose to utilize your incredibly rare human life today? What seeds are you planting right now? Something to think about for sure. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.